What's good, y'all? Welcome back to my channel, Chrissyy Talks. Y'all can call me Chrissyy, and let's go ahead and jump right into this video. So for today, we have a true crime case, and for those of you guys who do not know, I do tea videos, but I also do true crime, and I do love entertainment and scary things, so this is my way of kind of merging the two. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Tamla Horsford was born in St. Vincent in the Grenadines in 1978, and her family moved to the Bronx, New York at age 11 in 1989. She met her husband of 16 years, Leander Horsford, in Florida, and they had 5 sons together, the youngest being 4 at the time, and she also had a stepdaughter from her husband's previous marriage. In 2013, Tamla and her family moved to Cumming, Georgia for Leander's work, but she was also excited to be in a new environment. Tamla was overall described to be open, giving, and definitely the life of the party. She never wanted to see somebody in a bad mood. Her husband stated that she had the biggest heart on this planet. Now, on a night in November of 2018, Tamla went to a slumber party and she never came back out. After 300 hours of investigation and over several interviews, to this day we do not know what happened to Tamla Horsford. So what happened that night in November of 2018? On November 3rd of 2018, Tamla planned on attending a birthday party of one of her friends, John Myers. The two knew each other because both of their sons played football for their schools. And so they were having a birthday party with a couple of other football moms in celebrance of John's 45th birthday. Now, though the party started at 7 o'clock that night, Tamla would be late cooking a casserole breakfast for her family. They were not expecting her to arrive until the next morning. So by the time Tamla arrived at John's house, it was 8:30 in the afternoon. Amongst Tamla, there were 11 other guests at the party, so there were 12 total, and only 7 others were spending the night. So to ensure that everybody was safe and nobody was going home under the influence, John decided to have a sleepover. And I'm sure by these pictures I do not have to say anything, but yes, Tamla was the only black woman at the party. And given the circumstances of this case and where this case occurred, it does play a factor that she was the only black person there. And let's be honest, if Tamla was white and she was in a party with all black people, the whole country would be in mayhem. Now, though this was only supposed to be an all-women's party, there were 2 men who were present at the party. One of them being Tom Smith, who is the husband of a Stacy Smith that was a guest, and the other being Jose, who was John's boyfriend. Now, they spent majority of their time in the basement watching football, while the ladies also spent time watching a football game, the LSU Tigers versus Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, though there was a couple other football moms among the guests at the party, Tamla didn't really know that many people there. Nonetheless, she was dancing, she was talking, she was engaging, as you can see in these photos and videos, and she generally had a good time. Even when she arrived at the party, witnesses described her to be hopping around on one foot, getting ready to change into her cute white onesie with gray paw prints all over, and she came ready with a bottle of tequila. According to the witnesses, nobody else allegedly drank from that bottle of tequila except for Tamla. According to John, just the smell of the tequila was enough to make her almost throw up. It was really strong, and so allegedly Tamla was the only one drinking from the bottle that she brought to the party. But some of the moms were also drinking cocktails. Though she allegedly drank a good amount of that tequila bottle, witnesses stated that she did not appear to be drunk, and she actually seemed happy throughout the night. On top of her drinking, it was noted that Tamla was also smoking cigarettes and marijuana throughout the portions of the night. Now, the men eventually joined the party, and they are seen to be playing Cards Against Humanities and having a good time before people started going to bed. Around 1 a.m., John Myers signaled to everybody that it was time to go to bed. She actually told police that Tamla allegedly begged her to stay up. And as you know, Tamla is in a house with mostly all boys, so she was really trying to enjoy the moment of not having the responsibilities as a mom and wanted that female bonding time. But John told her that she had to get up early the next day, and so her and Jose went to their upstairs bedroom to go to sleep at around 1:30 in the morning. Tom Smith and his wife Stacy Smith also went upstairs to the bedroom. By this time, John's aunt Madeline Lombardi also went to bed in the basement a couple hours before. Everybody was in their bed going to sleep. The only people who were up were Tamla Horsford and Bridget Fuller, another guest at the party. According to Bridget, Tamla was waiting with her until her husband came home. She was eating a bowl of gumbo and they were engaging in small talk until her husband arrived. So Bridget's husband came to pick her up at 1:47 in the morning, and she would be the last person to see Tamla alive that night. According to Bridget, Tamla also told her that she would be on her way to bed shortly after having another cigarette break at the balcony. So the next morning on November 4th, 2018, between 8:30 and 8:45 in the morning, John's aunt Madeline Lombardi woke up and she made herself a cup of coffee. Now remember, she lives in the basement, so when she stood out the window, she was staring out the window at ground level until she noticed white PJs with gray paw prints all over them peeking through the grass. Madeline told police that she actually thought Tamla was sleeping before she went to go do a prayer and came came back to the window, realized that Tamla had not moved, and went upstairs to go tell John and Jose. I thought it was a little bit weird. I can understand the idea of maybe she got too drunk and she went and passed out in the backyard. I understand that, but to see somebody laying in your backyard right outside your window, I feel like the first thing I would have done is went outside to go check on the body. You know, hey, are you okay? Like, are you asleep? But instead she went to go pray about it first and then go tell the owners of the house without checking on Tamla herself. Now apparently Madeline went upstairs and she talked to John first and said, I just want to talk to Jose. I need him to come downstairs with me. Which again, I thought was odd that she went upstairs and specifically asked for Jose, because that was John's friend and Jose didn't really know who Tamla was. John of course asked Madeline what was wrong, and she said, and I quote, "Your friend from the islands is laying in the backyard and she's not moving." I really don't know why it was necessary for her to point out that Tamla was from the islands, especially because she was raised in the US for more than half her life. Like, I thought that was an interesting way for her to let her know that it was Tamla outside. Now eventually John and Jose called 911 at 8:59 in the morning, and I'm going to try to insert a clip of the 911 phone call here.
Forsyth County 911.
Hi, yes, I need an ambulance and the police to my home.
Sir, what is your name?
My name is John Myers.
Okay, what's going on?
We had people over last night. We were drinking. Most of us went to bed. One of them stayed on the balcony. She was drinking, and we just went outside, and she's laying face down in the backyard. It looks like, I'm guessing maybe she fell off the balcony, but she's stiff.
Okay, is she breathing?
I don't know if she's face down.
Okay, how old is she?
41. Here, hold on.
Hey, this is Jose Barrera.
Hey, have y'all checked to see if she's breathing?
She's not moving one bit. She's not breathing.
Okay.
I just try to assess her, touch her. She's completely face down in the yard. She is stiff.
Okay. Do you know if she, do you see any blood or anything where she... Are you there?
I am.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was outside.
It's okay. I'm not sure what happened to the line there for a second. Do you see any blood or anything to where, from where she fell?
I don't know if I should move her over. I mean, she is completely face down.
Okay. I mean, can you just check and see if she's breathing? If she's not breathing and you know she's gone, then just leave her where she's at. If she... Okay.
Completely not sure.
Okay. And that's the only blood that you would see?
That's what I can see without moving her over. I haven't seen her face.
Do you know if she was suicidal at all?
I have no clue. I've met her one other time. You know, like my girlfriend said, people were over last night. She was her birthday party. We're not the woman that we believe to be deceased, but it's my girlfriend's birthday party. Instead of having everybody go out, she had everyone stay in. And she was the last one I saw before everybody was typically put off to bed. And she was the last one in the kitchen. She was just either waiting around for a ride or waiting until the morning.
Okay.
Well, John told officers we were drinking, we were staying up late. One of them went out to the balcony and she guessed that she fell. But they just said that she went outside and she's laying face down. She then handed the phone over to her boyfriend Jose. Something I found interesting that Jose mentioned was the cut on her wrist. And he immediately met the idea of, you know, her being suicidal. And I honestly feel like Jose and John both introduced the idea that she could have done this herself. This could have been an accident. This could have even been suicide. But, you know, they're kind of putting the story towards Tamla, like either she fell by accident because she was too drunk, or she had suicidal thoughts. They're being way too calm for having found somebody in their backyard unresponsive at a party that they hosted, and they're not showing no signs that they're alive. Now after John and Jose called at 8:59, at 9:07 the police arrived at their home 6 minutes later, which goes to show how fast these police move in these white neighborhoods. When police arrived, Tamla's body was found face down, one arm extended by her left side, the other bent to the right at an obtuse angle. There was blood on her pajama sleeve and pant leg, injuries all throughout her body. Tamla overall had blunt force trauma to the head, neck, torso. She also had abrasions on her face. a dislocated right wrist, cuts on her arms and legs, and just multiple injuries that some felt like did not correlate with the fall that she had. As well as the position of her body when she fell, she was fully face down, which doesn't sound right. Now, one of the craziest parts about this is investigators initially reported that this could have happened from a ground level fall and not the fall from the balcony. Now, I've seen different measurements for how far the balcony is from the ground, and it's anywhere between 10 to 20 feet with a 4-foot railing, and either way, like, it's just not adding up. Whether it was from the ground level or the balcony level, it's not making any sense with the amount of injuries that she suffered that night. And on top of it all, police neglected the shit out of the investigation. They did not print the lighter, they did not test the tequila bottle to really see if she was the only one drinking from it. They didn't test for sexual assault, they didn't check her fingernail clippings to see if there was any DNA underneath them, which you would usually find in a moment of defense. It was also revealed that though they had security cameras on their property, the batteries were dead and the cameras were not recording. The scene was never secured, and when police arrived at the scene, they actually went and interviewed all the guests together and not separately, and obviously that's not what you want to do because that just gives more weight for all the guests to have a similar story. Now, just after 3 months of investigating, on February 21st, 2019, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department concluded that this incident was an accident because of her high intoxication levels. So her high intoxication level came out to be a .238, which is 3 times over the limit to drive, and she also tested positive for marijuana as well as Xanax. So they believe that the combination of the high intoxication level, top of the THC, and the Xanax contributed to her fall. Even the mayor said it was a party, they were drinking, which definitely downplays the severity of this case. However, again, even though the guest stated that Tamla was the only one drinking this tequila bottle, which they found only 1/8 of the bottle left the next day, even then they stated that she did not appear to be drunk or heavily intoxicated. One of the party guests, Stacy Smith, who's also the wife of Tom Smith, stated that she tested the theory of the balcony. She even tried to lean over it, but it didn't seem like it was possible for Tamla, even if drunk, to fall over this 4-foot railing. According to Stacy, this theory did not make any sense. And her family also thinks that this is strange as well. Now, Tamla's family definitely had a lot to say about what happened to her death, and they still don't believe that it was an accident. On top of the witnesses saying that she wasn't visually heavily intoxicated. According to Tamla's sister Summer, she never seen Tamla ever be sloppy drunk. She also stated that she definitely wouldn't have been in that state at a party with people that she did not know. Tamla's husband Leander and her brother-in-law felt like something was also not right. According to her husband, if Tamla was the only person who went out for a smoke that night, why were there 2 lighters at the table? Why were the cigarettes not even taken in as evidence? And what about her shoes? They were left inside and never collected by the police.
I want to make them pay for what they did because they've disrupted so much.
She was something very special. The entire family needs closure. You know, my kids have nightmares, and I'm just worried about them because they don't want to talk to anybody.
I mean, there's a lot of questions surrounding this case. Let's look back to the security notifications. So the front door was open and closed at 1:47 in the morning, which we can conclude that that was Bridget Fuller leaving the house. The back door was open and closed at 1:49 and 1:50 in the morning, which we could assume that that was Tamla going in the back for a smoke. Now, the back door was again open at 1:57 in the morning and it was never closed. So this makes me think of 2 options. One, Tamla was outside, she closed the door behind her, and somebody else walked into the back patio and left the door open. Or 2, Tamla did go to the back, she closed the door, and for some reason went back inside. Maybe she needed to grab a second lighter. For some reason she went back inside and then she went back outside to smoke and didn't close the door because, you know, apparently she fell off the balcony. I honestly personally feel like she went to the patio, opened and closed the door behind her, and somebody else went into that patio that night and did something to Tamla. Now, another big and probably the main question surrounding this case is, can someone really die from a 20-foot fall? And if so, how does nobody hear it? Because you're telling me that there was 8 people around that house. How did nobody hear somebody fall from a 20-foot drop? Even Madeline, how did Madeline not hear or even feel any vibration for somebody falling literally outside where she lives? And I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, but when John called the police saying that everybody left and there was one person out on the balcony, she was smoking, whatever, it's like, if you went to sleep at 1:30 in the morning, how do you know where Tamla was at? I just don't understand how they came up to the conclusion that she was just drinking too much. You guys didn't see her last moments. You guys also said that she wasn't visually heavily intoxicated. But either way, the whole concept of this beautiful black woman entering an adult slumber party and no one knowing what happened to her is fucking bizarre. Now, another thing about this case that is very fishy is Jean's boyfriend, Jose. Now, he was a court employee around this time, and he was actually fired in February 2019 for illegally accessing files of the Tamla Horsford case. He was also accused of attempting to leak info about one of Tamla's close friends, Michelle Grace, who was very much so critical about the party guests in relation to what happened to Tamla that night. Even though Jose tried to deny accessing her files, but she tried to deny this by saying anybody could publicly access the files. Yeah, but Jose, you did it illegally, sir. But nonetheless, that is way beyond fishy for him to try to access her files after the incident. Now, one of the things you guys really need to know about this case is Forsyth County's racial history. Forsyth County had a whole racial cleansing in 1912. After 2 white women were raped and abused, a black man was accused of doing the crime. One of the white women, Ellen Grice, actually accused a black man of raping her in her home, and therefore a white mob was formed, and so they literally ran out all the black people out of town and their businesses, and it was over 1,000 black people that they ran out, which this is definitely not new. This actually sounds similar to the Black Wall Street case. Basically, the Black Wall Street massacre did actually start with a white woman claiming that a black man raped her. Not only was there racial cleansing, but there was also a white supremacy gathering just in 1987, which is pretty, I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not like, it's far away, but not too far away. That's still some racist shit that happened pretty recently. Now, something else pertaining to the Forsyth racist history that I think is the most important to the case is Sheriff Ron Freeman and Deputy Coroner Chris Shelton. Now, this is a lot to read, so you can feel free to pause and read this yourself, but basically this is saying that Chris Shelton was forced to resign from a nearby police force after distributing photos of himself posting with racist mammy dolls. 2 years later, Chris Shelton appeared in Facebook photos for Ron Freeman's 2016 campaign for sheriff. After Freeman won, Shelton was appointed deputy coroner in Forsyth County. Now get this, Shelton also works for Operation 21, a business owned by law enforcement and military veteran Brian. And guess who Brian and his wife Anna are friends with? Stacy and Tom Smith. So the whole point of Chris being fired from the force because he was posing with racist dolls, to him then being appointed as coroner, and on top of that, Chris working for somebody who is friends with some of the party guests, it shows that not only do people have each other's back in Forsyth, but again, there's this racist history that is not too far off. And even now, Forsyth is seen to be a very conservative county in the state of Georgia, and only 4% of the population is black. Now, even though this case was concluded as accidental, it was closed back in February 2019. Last year, following the George Floyd protests and several hundred BLM protests, support boomed for the Tamla Horsford case, and eventually it got reopened. Now, initially, the Forsyth Sheriff's Department did not want to open the case, but of course, with all of this support, they were kind of pushed to. So on June 12, 2020, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Department, specifically Ron Freeman, asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigations to reopen the case, and the GBI reported to be looking at everything. Ralph Fernandez, a Tampa lawyer who represents the Horsford's family, made a number of public statements claiming that Tamla's death was more than just an accident. He stated that due to the defensive wounds, the conflicting statements, the improper investigations, and the unpreserved scene, that overall this case just was not handled properly. Overall, it just doesn't make sense. But nonetheless, just the other month, the GBI came out with a statement saying that they do not support criminal charges of this case. So once again, they concluded that this was an accident after 2 investigations, hundreds of hours of interviewing and investigating. They still came to the conclusion, regardless of all these questions that we have. But again, it's just like, could this fall have really killed somebody? Do the injuries really correlate with the fall from a 10 to 20 foot balcony? Why didn't the police test the tequila bottle, test the cigarettes, because there were 2 lighters? Why didn't they conduct a sexual assault kit? Why did they initially question all the party guests together and not separate? Why did John, Madeline, and Jose take so long to call the police? Why did they sound so calm on the phone? How did John claim to know that it was Tamla that was on the balcony if she was already asleep by then? Can we keep in mind Forsyth's racist ass history? Regardless, we do not know what happened, but I think accident was far from what happened to Tamla Horsford, and it sucks that her family and her kids still do not know what happened to their mother. Now, it also sucks even more that you have people who are police who genuinely do not care about the victims that they are supposed to be helping. Regardless, I personally do not feel like this was an accident. accident. It sucks that they opened the case twice and they closed it twice and overall just did not do a formal investigation. My love and thoughts are forever with her family, and I really hope one day we do find out what happened to Tamla Horsford. But that is my video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down what you guys think below. What do you guys think really happened to Tamla Horsford? Do you think that it was an accident, or do you think that it was homicide that might have even been racially influenced? Comment down what you guys think below. Follow me on Instagram at my Snapchat, Chrissyy, 2 S's, 2 Y's. I love and appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, guys.